Right, should we get started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Take a sip of water. It's been sitting on that desk for a little while now, so it tastes quite cardboardy, but oh well.
Cardboard water, love that.
Yeah. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Footy Fetish podcast with myself, Alfie, Ollie,
Yo!
and Harry.
One.
Yo, no Mark today. He is busy and he's not here. So Ollie is manning the stream today. So if there's anything goes wrong, blame Ollie.
Blame Mark. No, blame Mark.
Yeah, but blame
okay,
Mark,
well, blame
actually.
Okay,
Don't blame
right.
me.
It's basically the usual then. Just blame Mark.
Yeah, if in doubt.
Yeah. I don't. It's like season 2, episode something, but it's week 2 Premier League review basically. Now you know the Tuesdays are reviews of the week just gone. Thursdays are the previews of the week coming up. We know the drill now. I'm still getting it into my mind about doing 2 podcasts a week. It's all good. It's all good. But before we get into the review of the week, review of the football of the week, there's just some news, some transfer news. But obviously, I thought if kicking off the podcast, we might as well start with something that kicked off last night in the Marseille-Nice game, where fans and players and coaches and physios and officials, stewards, everyone just throwing punches, boys. It was a bit of a mad one, basically. So yeah, I mean, I think essentially how it started was a fan has thrown what they called a missile, it's a water ball. Like, let's not go with the whole missile. It's a
bottle rocket.
Yeah. Is that? How are you just holding that missile, Harry? With
Have you seen the size of this nuke?
Jesus, look at that!
It's a nuke, mate.
It's an IBM. It's an IBM.
But yeah, no. So yeah, a water bottle. Let's get it. A bottle of water. Which then he threw back, and then threw another one back.
Norse PC just subscribed. Sorry for the interruption, but man like Marcus, what a guy.
Mo Farah sign.
There you go.
Mo Farah for everyone.
Yeah.
But so he got some bottles of water thrown at him. He threw them back with another by Alvaro Gonzalez, a defender that is also on the Marseille team. And when I read the name that was also involved in this, I just thought, well, obviously, Matteo Guendouzi, obviously, the petulant child that he is, obviously was getting involved in the shenanigans. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously quite horrendous what happened, but it was a great watch. It was jokes to watch. Obviously, the biggest standout of it was the Marseille manager, Jorge Sampaoli. Just having to be like, it was so funny.
Just going ham.
Yeah, like it took like 3 or 4 people.
Thing.
Yeah, it took like 3 or 4 people to like push him back, and even then he still broke free and managed to punch a couple fans. I saw a Marseille physio. It was like like a small section of the video of a big mass brawl taken, and you see him just run on the pitch, just go up to this fan, just punch him straight in the face, knock him down, and run off. It's just, mate, it's just quality. But yeah, guys, what did you make of this Marseille versus Nice fight?
Thoroughly entertaining. It was just like, I think we were sent a video of it. It was like a 5-minute video on Twitter or something by George. Everyone knows George. And I watched it, and all 5 minutes, it wasn't a down moment at all. There wasn't any points where it was like, okay, it's calmed down now. It was just pure chaos the whole time, and even the full 5 minutes didn't look like it was going to calm down anytime soon. But it was a bit crazy to see how quickly the referee just completely lost control of that game, like massively.
It's kind of mad that whole thing just happened. That the fans just even bothered to run down onto the pitch in the first place.
Oh yeah, we can track all manner of shit at you, but you kick a ball at us.
Yeah, man, it's so stupid.
I think Pyatt was well within his rights to do that.
Yeah,
I think it's one of those things where you're in your right to do it, but you probably shouldn't, just because you got to be like the bigger guy in that situation.
I mean, he didn't get anything out of it.
No, not at all. They throw a load of bottles at him, and he throws 1 or 2 back, and then chaos.
With no guarantee.
Yeah. I imagine the French league will do nothing. You know, they'll probably just whatever, give him a little slap on the wrist or whatever. What are you gonna do? Like, it doesn't really. I know it's like one of them things where people are like, "Oh, we need to kick this out of the game," but it don't matter. It is what it is.
But English fans are monsters.
Yeah. No, exactly.
So we're the only monsters.
Yeah.
Obviously.
French fans do it. They get called nice. Yeah. Sorry, I saw that on Twitter. It's an absolutely horrific joke. But yeah. French league. That's the best thing the French league's done in years. Is this scrap.
Actually, that's true.
Yeah, so you know, it is what it is. But we'll move on now. Spurs. I feel like we haven't really spoken about Spurs like transfer wise on this quite a little while. But looks like they're going to be pursuing Adama Traore for the rest of the window. They had a move rejected, which was a loan with an option to buy at the end. I don't know if that's the way Wolves want to do it. If they want to get rid of him now for money or loan him. I think either way, you're getting rid of a big player in your team. You might as well get some money for him. But what do you guys think of Adama Traore to Spurs?
Well, it suggests to me that they're going to start playing Son through the middle if Kane does end up going.
Yeah.
But you know, I think he might fit their system quite well, and obviously he knows Nuno already. Nuno knows how to use him best. Exactly. I don't hate that as a transfer. 40 million is steep, but
yeah,
I don't hate that for the fitting in terms of fitting in at Tottenham.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think they've got to be if they're going to be properly pursuing Traore, then they've got to now be considering the Kane move properly. Because I think you've been playing it a bit cool on sort of social media and that sort of stuff, and in various interviews saying obviously Tottenham aren't playing ball and stuff like that. But I think it has now got to the point where City are now actively really pushing Tottenham for a proper final, all said and done. Is it going to happen? Will you obviously allow us to sign Harry Kane? Obviously they're clearly showing their intent by obviously pushing as much as they are to try and obviously sign him, and I think if Traore does go, it is just it's all said and done. Kane's going to be going to City really, and there's been increasing amounts of talk saying that the deal is getting closer to happening, but who knows really. I think hopefully he should do alright actually at Tottenham. Well, no, hopefully he doesn't do alright at Tottenham, but for him as a person I quite like Traore, so I'd want him to do well, but yeah.
The thing is, I've seen loads of people talking about this moves obviously means that Harry Kane's going to City, and I'm like, well, I don't think it is. I think they sign him anyway. There's no reason why, these signings that Spurs have been making, there's no reason why these signings are not Harry Kane replacements and more to entice Harry Kane to stay and to actually improve the team. So we'll see what. But
because they haven't signed a striker.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was
the only option would be Son.
Yeah, there was rumours around Lautaro Martinez from Inter Milan, but he's just signed a new deal with them, so that's not obviously going to happen. But I don't know. I don't really see I don't see the Man City moving getting done in 8 days. That's not. I don't think personally it's going to happen. I think Harry Kane will be a Tottenham player this year. I think next year will be when the move happens. Probably getting for cheaper. Probably getting for about 100 mil next year. But yeah, it'd be interesting. But they've also made another signing with Pape Sarr from Metz. I don't know much about the kid, but he's highly touted in France, teenager. £14 million is the deal at the moment with and he's being loaned back till the end of this year to Metz, which is probably a great idea to be fair for them. He's probably not going to play, is he? If he's a young player for Tottenham, so why not stick him back in the French league to get experience of French league if it was like League One, but oh well. Yeah, and there was some rumours that they inquired for Weston McKennie from Juventus, that young American kid. But then I saw that apparently Juventus have come out and said, yeah, no, it's a lie. We don't want anything to do with that. Want to keep him around.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so with these signings, say they keep Harry Kane, right? They get maybe an Adama Traore. Obviously, they've got in Romero from Juventus or wherever it was from, or Atalanta, wherever. And who else did they sign? I feel like they signed another player this season.
Gill.
Yeah.
Brian Gill, yeah. So if all these come, all that, including Kane staying, all of that, how do you guys see this season going for Spurs? Obviously, beat City. Didn't look as well in their last game, but still got the win.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I don't know. It could be. They could do quite well. Obviously, Kane. I'm not sure if he's a professional. If he plays, he's going to put his heart and soul into it, regardless of whether he wants to be there or not. So, I think they probably will still end up doing all right this season. I think they've sort of unexpectedly got off to a better start than people sort of initially thought. 2 wins out of 2, so it's not a bad start by any means. But I think it's I can't see. It's so hard to tell at the moment because we're only 2 games in. Their season could be all downhill from here. But you'd like to think with the start that they've gotten off to that they're going to do better, especially because they've only Harry Kane's played 20 minutes so far this season, and all he managed to do was get a yellow card in that 20 minutes.
He did nearly score.
Yeah, but he also got a yellow card and didn't score.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think they'll still have a decent season. I think, like I said, Harry Kane's a professional, so he'll still want to do what he does best and score goals for Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to sit out, is he?
No.
Like, that does nothing. That only hinders his career, because that just, no one. That's a whole year about people seeing him on the pitch. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Moving to the far more probably the most interesting team in fucking London at the moment is Chelsea, because they're just doing bits. They've opened talks with Atletico Madrid about Saul Niguez, with a loan being an option to buy, but also United have inquired within the last 24 hours because they're torn between him and Camavinga. This would be a great deal for either of the teams if they can land Saul Niguez. He's a fantastic player. He's a very Liverpool player, and I don't really get why Liverpool haven't gone for him. But I mean, at Chelsea don't need him, but United could definitely do with him. I think if they're going to continue with Pogba out on that left, because he seems to be doing really well out there, then I don't see why they wouldn't go for him. They've agreed personal terms with Jules Koundé from Sevilla as well. Obviously, no deal's been agreed between the 2 teams, and Koundé said that he doesn't want to force a move and is prepared to stay in Spain if the 2 teams can't reach an agreement this summer, which is fair. I think that's quite a good way of going about it, to be fair. Very respectful from him. I mean, I do think it is because Sevilla have Champions League football as well this year, so I mean, either way, he's going to be playing in the top tier of football. Zuma looks like he could. Well, I don't know if he's gonna go, but Chelsea have come out and said they're willing to sell him to West Ham for the right price, which I think going to West Ham would be a great move for him and for West Ham. Chelsea just seem to be getting rid of centre backs at the moment, and
I don't really get why they're so keen to get rid of Zuma though. I mean, he popped up a lot last season with some big performances and big goals and stuff, but
I think Christensen's going to take a real. He's going to be a very big presence in that back line. Because obviously he had a great Euros. He played a lot in the back end of last year. And then obviously you've got Rudiger. You've got Azpilicueta, who seems to be slotting back in that 3rd centre back role with Reece James.
Resurgence.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got Chalobah, however you say it. He's coming through. He's absolutely smashing it. So yeah, I can kind of get it. I mean, they've gotten rid of who else have they got? So they're potentially getting rid of Zuma. They've got rid of Gay to us. And they got rid of someone else as well, centre back, Tomori, Fikayo Tomori to AC Milan. So yeah, they're definitely willing to let players go. And obviously Koundé is a centre back himself, so that'll be another young centre back coming in.
Oh, and they got Thiago Silva as well.
Yeah, they got Thiago Silva on the bench, so they got players coming out their arse like City.
That's better.
100%.
So yeah,
they've not even just got centre backs. Obviously, they've still got Ben Chilwell that doesn't play really at the moment. He seems to be favouring Marcus Alonso. Again, another player that's had a bit of a resurgence at the moment with Chelsea.
Yeah, it seems. I know Ruben Loftus-Cheek is apparently in in Tuchel's plans this year, so we'll see how he's deployed. If he can stay fit, hopefully. That's been his biggest problem. But we've seen what he can do when he gets played consistently. Like when he was on loan at Arsenal, he was fantastic at Palace. Do you know what I mean? When he got consecutive runs and all that kind of thing. So we'll see what happens. But Zappacosta, remember the name?
Yep.
Yep. He's gone.
Face.
I don't. Yeah, he looks kind of like Mario.
Yeah.
Or Luigi, whichever one. Take one. He's made a permanent move to Atalanta, which I think is actually a really good move for him. I didn't even realise he still played for Chelsea, to be honest with you. He's been so quiet.
realise he hadn't played for Chelsea, to be honest.
Yeah,
I just nodded because it's the name I'd heard before.
Yeah, the Zappacosta, yeah, he's gone to Atalanta on a permanent move. So good luck. Italy's a great place to go if you're a bit older, and obviously he is Italian himself, so back home, that's lovely for him. Yeah, as we were saying, obviously about the centre back situation, Christensen and Rudiger have been offered new contracts to stay with Chelsea. Yet to be signed, I think, but they've been offered, which is great. Weird because they were looking to ship off Rudiger this summer. They seem to have done a 180 on that, as he has started the last 2 games as well to open the season. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But I mean, Chelsea are looking very, very much probably the strongest team so far. I think you'd probably have to say over these first 2 game weeks. I'd probably say they're the strongest team.
West Ham.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely West Ham up there.
Yeah,
but
it's half a joke. But it's half actually not a joke.
No, it's not a joke at all. But yeah, no. Just a bit of quick Palace news for everyone. I know it's just me caring, but yeah, we're looking like it's going to sign Reece Nelson on loan, and we're moving for Eddie Nketiah. I've seen today that our deal is basically 10 million pounds or leave it, basically, because we're not paying 20. Which is fair enough, I guess. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do actually meet somewhere in the middle and get that deal. We need a striker, and you need to get rid of a striker. So, it makes sense to get done. I think I'd take it. I was saying to Ollie last night, actually, I've seen Palace fans on Twitter talking about how the same Palace fans that wanted Rhian Brewster don't want Eddie Nketiah. And for me, Eddie Nketiah is a far better player than Rhian Brewster is anyway.
100%. That's not even Arsenal bias coming into it. That's just facts.
Yeah. No, for sure. And
even Sheffield want to get rid of Rhian Brewster now, I'm hearing.
Yeah, no, yeah. Exactly.
A record signing.
Shit in the Championship as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, well, he can just go get his hair cut with his Champions League badge Champions League medal around his neck again, and pretend. Which he could just pretend for the rest of his life.
Deserved.
So, yeah, exactly. If you want to come on the podcast, Rhian, anytime, mate.
Defend yourself.
Yeah, no. But apart from that, I don't know. He's not really the striker that I'd want, but if he comes here, you best believe he's getting my full, unwavered support, and I hope he absolutely smashes it. So we'll see how it goes. I actually do think he fits the system quite nice. Well, better. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but better than Benteke or Mateta do. So it could be quite interesting. Adds a little bit more of a dynamic to him as well. Bit of interesting West Ham news, which you don't really think, because they looked so well as like a good cohesive unit. But Declan Rice has said he's going to refuse a new contract at West Ham, and also feels that he's being priced out of a summer move. What do you guys think about that? Do you think he is? Because I think 100 million for Declan Rice is certainly outpricing him.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he's not a £100 million player.
No, I think there's not many CDMs that are. CDMs aren't £100 billion players, like in general, really. You can get like if they're. Like even Kante, I probably wouldn't say he's worth
30, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like he's nowhere near that sort of amount. Obviously,
I know the transfer
markets. Yeah, I know the transfer market's changed and stuff like that, but it's not often that you're going to be seeing clubs paying out 100 mil for a CDM, because they're not goal scorers. They're not like they are key people in the team, but yeah, they're not prolific goal scorers. They're not the ones that are going to be the ones winning the games for them. But it's definitely pricing them out. For me, I think he's going to go to Chelsea. He's going to obviously go back to Chelsea technically. He's going to meet up again with Mason Mount, his best mate, do bits in the Chelsea midfield.
Yeah, I personally see him going to Man United, but either way, I think that would be a great move for him. I think either team would be fantastic. Yeah, I mean, because you were talking about Kante. If I saw Kante go for 70 million or 80 million, I'd be like, yeah, fair play. Do you know what I mean? If he went for 100, even then, Kante's so good. I think if you bought him at any price, it's worth.
I think when he went for 30 to Chelsea, people since then have realised how important he is, how important he was to that Leicester team.
Oh yeah.
Leicester fans knew at the time. Obviously, the Chelsea scouts did, but
look how good he made Danny Drinkwater look. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
It is what it is.
What happened to him? Is he still at Chelsea?
No, I think he's at Burnley, right? Or is he? Oh, he was last season on loan. But Harry, have a look for us, son. Yeah. But a bit of Arsenal news, because that's always fun to go over. Is the comedy part of the podcast coming up? But
I'll be back in a minute, all right?
Arsenal are desperately trying to get rid of Willian at this point. Essentially,
yeah, take him, anyone, free. I don't care. I'll pay you to take him.
Corinthians have come in recently, whereas Willian would prefer him to stay in Europe, but I think at this point he's going to take the deal. But Harry, I don't know if you saw this, but he sparked fury of Arsenal fans after liking Chelsea's Instagram post.
Against Arsenal. I really love
that. Incredible shithousery. That is, we need to make a note of that for Ollie. Make a note of that for the awards next year.
I will. We've already got a couple of nominees for shithousery as well.
It's early doors as well, and we've got
2 weeks in. We've got 2 nominees
for shithousery of the year. It's going to be a great year.
We might have to do more than 4 nominees for this one.
Yeah, 100%.
Just to interject. Unbelievably, Danny Drinkwater is still at Chelsea.
I thought he was.
He's made 12 appearances in 4 years of being there.
Oh my god!
He played 1 game on loan at Burnley, 4 games on loan at Villa, and then last season he was on loan at a team called Kasımpaşa in Turkey.
Jesus Christ!
But he's still contracted to Chelsea.
He's fallen off a cliff, the poor man.
He's 31 years old.
He's just waiting out.
And he did also get done for drink driving, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Why didn't he just go down the leagues? He should just go play some Championship League One football for the rest of his career and just have a fun time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
shouldn't have left
drop down
Leicester.
to the best league in the world.
You could just go and get pissed on a Saturday night, get up and play Sunday football in that league if it's Danny Drinkwater. So go do it. Not to disrespect. That's League One and League Two. Championship's actually very, very good standards.
Best league in the world.
Exactly. But yeah, apart from that, Torreira's close to signing Fiorentina. Whatever. And then Arsenal are listening to offers for Aubameyang. That is a big one.
Going back slightly.
Yeah.
Sorry, going back slightly. I saw something earlier about Torreira, and they said, unpopular opinion, Torreira's the midfielder we need right now. And I was a bit like, I can kind of half see that, but at the same time, it's been like a year or so since he's actually properly played with Arsenal. Like I said, he could actually do all right, but at the same time, I'm not really willing to risk it, bring him back. I'd rather just get him off the books, save some money.
He's been shit, so for Arsenal, so I probably wouldn't bother.
He wasn't too bad when he went at first, and then he really started to go downhill, and then we sort of started loaning him out. So it was the first couple of month or so he was actually doing all right.
Has Odegaard signed yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, visa issues is why he couldn't play the other day. But
it's interesting.
Should be sorted, hopefully.
But yeah, no, I think it's interesting because Aubameyang. I mean, I was saying I don't know. I think I said to Ollie, but it wasn't this. Yeah, it was last summer before his season last year that was shit. And I remember saying to Hendry and something like that you should sell Aubameyang and invest in youth in the squad. It seems that you're trying to do that now, maybe a year and a bit too late. Because we were saying last night, Ollie, the idea behind the scouting itself, like the players you bought, is not amazing, but the idea of why you bought them makes sense. Because I think the oldest player you've signed this summer is 23. Yeah. That's a great idea. Build a young group that can go, mesh together, learn together, then go attack the top 4 together. You don't want to be doing this thing where you're just signing an Ozil, plugging him in, a Sanchez, plugging him in. That's not going to work anymore.
The only thing about that is
the Aubameyang vote's missed basically now is sort of my point of getting any real deal for him.
Yeah, I think with that though, obviously it's looking more increasingly like Arteta's not going to be there for too much longer, and obviously it's all well and good bringing in these young players, but I don't want a manager to come in and be like, oh, actually, don't want you, and then just completely getting rid of him. Like, well, another window wasted. It's
better that if they're going to do that, it's better that they do that when you've got players that are tops 23 years old. You can recuperate some of the money that you've spent on them.
Oh yeah.
When you've got an Aubameyang that's in his 30s, you ain't going to get and his best ability is pace, and that's rapidly going.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like the idea, but there's still massive issues around the actual recruitment at Arsenal at the moment.
That's the thing. Obviously, we're on a long-term rebuild at the moment. We're not going to be challenging for top 4 anytime soon. I give it another this season, next season, and maybe another season after that, and then we might actually start to challenge the top 4. It's a long-term rebuild. It's not going to happen anytime soon. I've basically just, with Arsenal, I've put all expectations down about 4 pegs, and I'm just gonna hopefully we finish in the top 10. That's what I'm thinking of.
If you take them down another couple runs, then you'll be happy by the end of season.
In the best league in the world.
Yeah, so exactly. But I think before we get onto the week 2 review, I know that's why everyone's here. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to pose this quick question while it's in my head. If there's no legit option to succeed Arteta, do you just keep him?
It's almost worse.
Isn't sacking him and then just getting another Freddie Ljungberg going straight back to square one, and it would be just, what's the fucking point? You might as well keep Arteta until there's an actual...
I think we've got to, if we're going to get rid of Arteta, I think we need to do the main bulk of the work to identify a new manager and to get some sort of conversation going pretty promptly.
It's got to be confirmed. Like, you've got to have that thing solidly done.
It's got to be a case of breaking news, Arteta's been sacked. A day or two later, X person has been announced as the new Arsenal manager.
Like Spurs did with Poch and Jose.
I thought you were about to say what Spurs did this summer. I was like, that's definitely not what they did this summer.
That was an absolute masterclass in how to fuck up your business.
Basically.
But yeah, so we'll finish on that now, because I know we can go about transfers Arsenal for absolute days. So we'll get into the week two review. It was a interesting week of football this week, boys. I think it was good, but there was also like some teams obviously overachieved, some teams massively underachieved. But all in all, I think it was an exciting week of football. We've had our first draw. We'll get onto that. Our first draw of the Premier League. No draws last week, so which is actually, I don't know.
That's the most interesting thing to say about that game, is it?
Yeah, literally. It was the first draw. It was such a bad game. But we won't start there. We'll start with first game of the weekend. Liverpool 2, Burnley 0. So obviously Liverpool started pretty well. I mean, they've the 2 wins out of 2 now. Obviously Jota and Sadio Mane were the ones that put the goals together. The latter one was insane. The long pass from Van Dijk, the chest control and shoulder control from Harvey Elliott to then put it into Salah that first time. Little dink over the defender to Mane, who then hits it first time. It is just like, that's just pure football. And it was so great to see.
We can actually give Liverpool praise this week because Mark's not here.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, it was actually fantastic to see.
Yeah.
Annoyingly, Mark's not here because I actually have a fucking question for him. I want to hear Mark's opinion for the first time since starting this podcast. No, I'm joking. Love you, Mark. No Farah.
Here he is. We got Mark's cousin Kieran in the chat as well. Whee! Love that.
Kieran. Thanks for watching, my man.
We can ask. Kieran's a Liverpool fan.
Kieran, here you go, mate. Yeah, Liverpool fan, mate. This is a question for you. We've been talking about Wijnaldum's replacement, and why Liverpool haven't gone out and bought someone like a Barella, like a Sal Niguez, this kind of thing. But after last week of football, I think it's become apparent that Harvey Elliott might be that man. He was fantastic going forward. Defensively, still a bit shaky, muscled off the ball. I think he just needs to get a bit used to the physicality of the Premier League. But mate, he is a fantastic player and a great replacement for Wijnaldum if that is what he is going to be. I'd like to hear your opinion on that. But what do you guys think about Harvey Elliott so far? Obviously, Harry, you'll know a bit more about him, having been in the Championship last year with Blackburn. Just give us a bit what you've been impressed about, basically, and what you think of him.
Well, he doesn't seem to have any fear, and that goes a long way when you're like a youngster coming into a big team like that. Well, we've seen other examples like Saka last season, came in with one of the most heavily criticised clubs in the world in Arsenal. He just shows up and starts balling, and Harvey Elliott's coming into a confident team. And he's still shining through, and that shows a lot about his potential that he's got. Because obviously last season I was talking about Curtis Jones and Nico Williams and people like that. I think that was just out of maybe a bit of desperation. Not saying they're bad players.
I know. I just would say that Kieran has put. We've still got Curtis Jones as well. Don't forget him. But I will say, I've seen more from Harvey Elliott in those 90 minutes than I've seen from Curtis Jones in the entire time he's played for Liverpool. I don't mind Curtis Jones at all. I think he's a decent off-the-bench player. But Harvey Elliott's a potential starting star in that midfield. And he's English, so big up. I know.
I also get the feeling that Liverpool don't have transfer budget.
No. Yeah. Well, we were used to them not having money pre-FSG. Then they still not got money post FSG coming in and sorting them out? I know they've sold to
even after a title win and multiple Champions League qualifications.
Yeah.
So where's the money?
LeBron, where's the money?
Yeah. Kieran said, yeah, Klopp seems to be changing his position to midfield. I really like it. Obviously, yeah, we still got Curtis Jones as well. Don't forget him. Definitely think Henderson being in the midfield helped Harvey a lot. But yeah, I can agree with that. Rumours are next summer we'll be spending. It's all well and good next summer, but
you have to in a new
left
few
behind
new
by Chelsea, City, United, all going out and spending.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. If you don't want to get left in the dust. You know what I mean? Because what will happen last time will just happen again. You might be if that happens, you might be the new Arsenal finishing fourth every year. But you know what Arsenal would do to be in that position now would be But yeah, no. I have to say though, Liverpool look great going forward, like Liverpool of 1920 when they absolutely smashed the league and everything. But defensively, them boys are shaky. Trent still struggling. Looks like he can't really defend that well. Alisson, great keeper, but he does look like he's got a mistake in him. A potential really bad mistake. He had the thing with Tarkowski
I was just about to say it was that was a bit of an odd moment. Nearly a sort of big blunder there by Alisson. Luckily, obviously, Tarkowski didn't. His header wasn't on target, but it was a bit of a mad one at the time.
Really worry for this Liverpool team coming up against a United, a City, a Chelsea. Like they were, especially with. They're just going to get
challenge basically.
So
far they've had an easy start. They've had Norwich and Burnley, two teams that we've tipped to be down there, very far down there this season. So yeah, I think their first proper challenge, their first big game, or this weekend, isn't it? Chelsea. Big Van Dijk versus Big Lukaku. That's going to be a very interesting.
I had to take Alisson out of my fantasy team for this week.
I still feel as well that Liverpool are only an injury or two away from like losing how they play again.
Yeah, 100%.
Just like last season.
Yeah, if they get another big injury to Henderson or Fabinho, they are done out here.
I've got both Lukaku and Van Dijk in my fantasy team this season, so bit of a odd one. Do I take one of them out? Do I not? Who knows?
Well, I've taken Alisson out just because I don't trust it. I got Havertz. But yeah, actually, let's praise Burnley a little bit because they actually look pretty decent.
Yeah.
They were unlucky that they had a few offsides, an off the line clearance, a few wayward shots that on another day could have gone in. Do you know what I mean? With Wood and Barnes had their shooting boots on. I don't know if this is going to be a sign of Burnley to come. I think that they just knew how to play against this Liverpool team, to be physical and quick balls into the box, early balls into the box, to use Chris Wood and Barnes to outmuscle Van Dijk, who did get outmuscled a few times in this game by said players. So it'd be interesting to see what happened. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool will be fine. They'll finish top four, but I really worry for them going up against a team that is really like dynamic and quick going forward. Yeah.
This weekend will be a big test for them.
100%. And if they come away with a win, then they could shut all of us up basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, they could be right in it. But we'll move on from that game. Liverpool still, yeah, they'll be fine. But yeah, Aston Villa 2, Newcastle 0. Villa back to sort of how we thought that they were going to be after that weird week 1 loss to Watford. Danny Ings scored an amazing overhead
goal of the season so far, I think.
Yeah, wicked goal. Or Luke Ayling's is up there, but I will. Danny Ings' goal was fantastic. Obviously, El Ghazi sort of put the game to bed in the 62nd minute with a penalty. Obviously, we said in the preview for week 2 on Thursday that Douglas Luiz coming back into this Aston Villa team would be a huge bonus for them. And what happened? He gets back in that team and they dominate again. They get back into how they do. He's so important to that team in that engine room, just making the midfield tick. Sitting in front of the back four, pinging balls. He allows your McGinns and your Ramseys to get forward a bit more than they would have otherwise. But they're wicked, man. Villa will be fine. They've got Danny Ings. They still got Ollie Watkins on the bench, even if Danny Ings gets a bit of a knock. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Buendia looks like a player. I think they'll be fine. Newcastle I'm worried about Newcastle as well.
Definitely.
I don't think Saint Maximin and Wilson's inconsistency could be their downfall this year, unless
Wilson had a couple of good chances. He was a very clear one-on-one with Martinez at one point and just put it like straight past the post, straight wide, and it was just terrible. And then obviously there was I'm not sure if you're about to allude to this, Alf, but there was the incident with Martinez as well. He got very lucky there, I must say, but Martinez just completely just took out Callum Wilson. They gave a penalty, and then VAR review turns out Wilson was offside by about a quarter of a foot or something. It was
my keeper.
A bit of a mad one. So yeah, they didn't actually end up getting the penalty, but it was a bit of a let off for Martinez. He probably would have got probably a yellow for that. Really, I'm not sure if he would have been sent off, but Wilson was just unlucky with that, and also not very good with his shooting. He didn't have his shooting boots on.
Yeah, no, 100%. But it'd be interesting. I do think Newcastle will be in big trouble this year. Villa, again, I think they have to be going for top 10, or it's a shit season for them, I think. But yeah, on to the most boring game of the weekend. First draw of the season, like we were saying earlier. Palace 0, Brentford 0. It was a bit of a dead game, to be honest. For a neutral, it was definitely a dead game. For obviously a Palace and Brentford fan, there was good and bad things that happened. I'll have to say Conor Gallagher is an absolute baller. He has so much dynamic. He hit the post and bar in the same shot that should have gone in. Well, unfortunately, it was go in. Obviously, could have been the winner. Jimmy Mack, James Mcarthur was fantastic again, as he always is. So underrated as a football player. Just one of them players that other because he's not in your team, you don't recognise what he does. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them situations. But when you watch him for 90 minutes for 38 games a season, you see what he does and how awful we are when he's not in that midfield.
Yeah, he's a bit of a sort of a background player, really. You kind of he does fade into the background, but the work rate that he has is unbelievable. It's so
dirty
good.
work.
Yeah,
man, it was only 4 minutes. I was watching it because a commentator said something, and I was thinking it at the time when he said it. It was only first 4 minutes of the game. He'd won the ball back like 3 times, anticipating passes and getting to challenges before people. He was just on his shit on that game. Unfortunately, not everyone else was. Before we move on from this, I just want to say, Zaha, man, your attitude stinks, brother. You got to. I know you're a competitive guy in that, but you can't be throwing strops. You've been doing it for a while, but now that you've, and I stomached it when your performances were great, but now your performances haven't been as great. It's not the greatest thing. That's my only query with him. I do feel like that Arsenal win has got to Brentford fans' heads. They do think that they are proper sick now. I've seen on Twitter anyway. Sorry, Brentford fans, but I've actually sort of redone my thinking after watching that game and Brentford were bad as well. I do think we may have overestimated Brentford this season. Us lot in our predictions. I do think that they could be a team that could go down if they don't. I think they were riding high. That Friday night first game against Arsenal, everything was in their favour to win that game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they came to us and they did. I genuinely think that we were the better team in that. I know obviously it's easy because it's my team, whatever. But I think we were the better team. We were unlucky not to win it, and they had a couple good chances. But apart from that, I don't know, man. It was just they're just not very good. I'll be honest with you.
As they were in the Championship last year, Harry, have we gotten your opinion on Brentford as of yet? Since they've obviously, it's only a review of game week 2, but how do you think they're gonna fare this season in the Prem compared to the Championship?
Well, I had them in the bottom 3 in my predictions, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do stay up. I mean, we've seen the last couple of years in the Championship they've been like one of the top 6 teams every year, but they had a couple of years where they'd bottom at the end of the season. Almost happened again last year.
Yeah. They were lucky.
Came back to beat Bournemouth in the playoffs.
Bournemouth.
And then ended up winning the final fairly comfortably. But they do have a lot of good ability in their side. But it's how well their games translate to the top division. Obviously, they'll be really gassed that win at Arsenal, and rightly so. But equally, Arsenal are 19th in the table. I know it's only 2 games, but everyone's talking about what a shambles Arsenal are, and Brentford are saying we're really sick because we beat that team that everyone's talking about in shambles. But I'm not saying they can't do it, because they absolutely could stay up. There are some bad teams in the Premier League this year, and they do have X-factor players like Ivan Toney, Brian Mbuemo, Sergi Canos and stuff who can pop up with a big moment anytime.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be too upset with this weekend's result. First 2 games they've beaten Arsenal and they've drawn with Palace, so they're 4 points from their opening 2 games. I think they were probably expecting maybe that or less, to be honest. So I don't think they're going to be too unhappy. But yeah, like you say, like Alf said, they did look very shaky at points.
Yeah, no, for sure. And let's not get it. They weren't like, I know obviously they got the win against you guys, but you look better than they did.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just that they put their chances away and you didn't.
Definitely.
And they had the heart behind them, really. And that was, they had the sort of the atmosphere and the night behind them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they didn't look particularly. I thought we were better. They didn't look particularly great. They just managed to, sort of get a result. I mean, frustratingly as well for Palace fans, we really wanted to win there. Actually, we've got kicking off in an hour. We've got Palace Watford.
Carabao Cup.
The old Carabao Cup. But yeah, we'll move on. Leeds are 2, Everton 2. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin's penalty. Did anyone see the Leeds fan with his belly out, rubbing his belly?
Yeah.
Calvert-Lewin. He was like right next to the goal, and the guy's just got his belly out, and he's just rubbing it like that. It was proper funny, but obviously he put it away, so it doesn't matter.
Calvert-Lewin, not the other guy.
Yeah, Calvert-Lewin.
I did see a picture of Calvert-Lewin running off and doing that at the back of his shirt in front of the fans.
Yeah.
And like in the corner of the picture, there's some old woman just doing this.
I'd love to see it. Yeah, it was a weird game. This Everton gave them their equaliser in the first half. I don't know what Mike Keane was doing, but he got put in a spliff. He just got wrapped up and didn't really know what to do. And then he just sort of gave the ball to Bamford, who Bamford's pass was so cheeky. It was one of them little, I don't know, just little dink through. It was lovely, and then which gave it a clutch, and Click put it straight in the back of the net, basically. Yeah, I mean, they got pretty lucky with their second goal as well. It was one of them situations where Doucouré made a pass, it took a deflection, but luckily came back to him, and by that time he managed to put Damari Gray through, who actually did do a nice turn and slot the ball away, but Melier should have done probably a bit better there. And then Rafinha's equaliser was absolutely nuts. Did you guys see it? Yeah. It was a great goal. It's a weird game. I don't really have too much to say on this game, because I do feel like 2-2 Leeds-Everton is a very Leeds-Everton result, especially the two teams that you got. Both could be shaky at the back, both are good going forward.
I was surprised at the possession stat, how dominated the possession stats were, though. 70% Leeds, 30% Everton. I didn't expect these to dominate the possession like they did, but
Everton could be in problem. Could be a problem. Could be it. Like there could be, could be.
I think that's just how Rafa sets his team up, though. He doesn't try and dominate. He'll.
Yeah, he didn't do that at Newcastle, but it's hard. You can't dominate anything at Newcastle. Yeah. You dominate the relegation zone, but that's about it.
Leeds had over double the amount of passes that Everton had. 606 to Everton's 253. Quite a big margin as well.
Yeah, Leeds are one of them teams that I think that. Well, I think we had them 10th. I think.
Yeah, roughly mid-10th.
And that just seems so right for them, doesn't it? 10th. Just winning half your games, losing half your games, essentially. They don't feel like a drawing club. Ironically, they drew here, but you know what I mean. They do feel like they're either going to win or lose. But yeah, interesting. Everton, I think, will slip down out of the top 10 this year. Man City 5, Norwich 0. We can talk about City. Obviously, Grealish got his goal that he didn't really know too much about. Just sort of hit him and went in. But fair play, got his goal.
Rest of the boys, goal.
Exactly. They look great. City again, but they are playing Norwich, who I have to. Well, this is more Norwich because we know City. We know what City are about this year. Holy hell, Norwich are bad. Like really, really bad. They look knackered. They didn't look like they want to put the effort in the second half. I put down on the notes. It sounds mad, but if they genuinely, it will be hard for them to get a win this year. I think with the effort and the lackluster performances we've seen in both. I know they played Liverpool and Man City. It's tough, right? But holy shit, they are bad.
Yeah.
Like really bad. They could even break Derby's record of being the worst team in Premier League history.
Definitely.
Harry, as a Championship man, and last year, are you surprised by how bad they looked in the Premier League so far this year, or do you think they would?
No, it's Norwich, mate. It's Norwich.
Okay, fair enough,
It's
yeah.
just what they do, innit?
Yeah.
I'm just sick of them existing. I'll be honest. It's annoying, isn't it? It's annoying.
It is.
The Norwich in the Championship. Okay, that's one.
They don't deserve to be in the Premier League.
That's not exciting, is it? Norwich winning the league. Who cares? How could imagine being a Norwich fan? Like,
Must suck.
how is it exciting to win the league when you get promoted all the time from the Championship? And then how is it an appealing thought to having won that to then be in the Premier League for a season?
And you're going to
come back down again.
Yeah.
You're getting promoted so much it's lost. I imagine almost all of the thrill. Yeah. And what? There was a time where they were in the Premier League for about 3 seasons running or something.
Ricky Van Wolfswinkel was leading the line then.
Oh my lord! What a throwback!
I've seen pictures recently in the last couple of days of Brandon Williams, obviously just signed from, or just gone on loan from United to Norwich, and the smile that he's he's sort of giving in some of these promo pictures is like, I don't want to be here.
No,
I'd rather sit on the bench at United.
Yeah, I'd rather collect my paycheck.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Nice out in Norwich.
Honestly, if there are any Norwich fans, let us know, because there is an absolute disaster what's going on with your
If
club.
there are any Norwich fans.
Yeah.
I like Julius Smith. I like Stephen Fry, but the club can just get.
I like Canaries.
Get gone. Yeah, Canaries, big up.
Canaries are cool.
Also, I will say
like
the city
Lotus
centre of Norwich is quite nice.
So, yeah, true. I like Lotus. That's a cool sponsor.
Yeah, that is quite a cool sponsor actually.
Your kit is still gross.
Get gone.
But yeah, listen, we'll leave Norwich. Norwich are going down. Thanks for being one of them. Thanks for already securing a spot in the relegation zone. Do you know what I mean? There's one less for Palace to be in. But yeah, Brighton 2, Watford 0. Brighton looking good. Mopé is getting goals. They well, I mean, he's got goals. I mean, they've not played the two hard. They played Burnley and Watford, so they should be winning both of those games. But Brighton, I think they'll be fine. I don't think they'll be looking back at relegation this year. I think they'll be looking more up the table, maybe coming around that 14th, because I think that'll be like their best finish ever. 14th, around there.
Positive praise from Alf about Brighton. Jesus.
Yeah, I know it is. They are. I'm just trying to, be, I don't know. I think I'm drunk. Am I drunk? I don't know. Am I ill? Maybe I'm ill. Who knows?
Have you got a COVID test downstairs you can take?
Hold on, let me.
He's just being a professional host.
Those crisps still like mature cheddar and onion, so we're all good.
Mature, see, you're being very mature about it. That'll be why.
Exactly. But no, Watford pulled the veil over our eyes in that first game with that win against Villa. But we've seen what they are now.
Back to Watford ways.
They're back to Watford ways. I say this, I guarantee they're probably going to fucking beat us in the Carabao Cup tonight, but hopefully not.
Cup, don't matter.
I want a good cup run, man. I want a good cup run. Our last good cup run was 2014. We went to the FA Cup.
You have to wait. You have to wait for there to be a good cup before you get that.
Oh yeah, true. I don't care. I will take anything. I'll take the Johnston Paint Trophy if that's still fucking going, or the Papa John's Pizza Trophy, wherever it is now. But yeah, so essentially, if you're going to take away anything from that Brighton-Watford game, Brighton looking up the table, Watford looking down the table. United, Southampton, boys.
That was a bit of a weird one, wasn't
it? Yeah. United, I'm going to just be honest, Southampton got very lucky, and Man United just didn't finish their dinner. That's essentially how it was. They got lucky with their goal, took a massive deflection off of
Fred.
Shea Adams. Shot from Shea Adams took a massive deflection off Fred, and he just had no chance. Harry Maguire was unlucky to not get a goal when he hit the bar from that cross from Bruno Fernandes, but obviously Mason Greenwood made up for it with after. It was an okay finish, but the build-up play towards the finish was just so sublime.
Yeah.
That it deserved the goal. It could only finish in a goal, but yeah, I think Southampton got lucky. United were just a bit more poor.
I'd say overall Southampton were lucky, but the first 10-15 minutes they were actually playing very well. It was like pure skill and class, and then after that it was just a bit like they were doing the bare minimum to keep the score as it was. Obviously, I think they went 1-0 up, and then obviously United equalised. But yeah, it was more of a the first 15 minutes was a lot more impressive than the rest of the game from Southampton. But yeah, they're not going to complain about that result, considering that same result last year was 9-0. So 1-1's not too bad, all things considering.
Oh, sorry, I'm just having a look at the team. Oh, we're playing a pretty strong team tonight, boys. Sorry to interrupt, but we're playing Butler. I keep forgetting we have Jack Butland. Jack. Yeah, we got Jack Butland. Butland.
When did that happen? That's gone completely under the radar for me.
We're playing a back four, boys. A back three. We're playing Butland, Tompkins, Anderson, Gay, and then I'm assuming Ward and Schlupp, or maybe a back five. Ward and Schlupp as the wing backs, with Kouyaté and Gallagher in the middle. Then Ayew, Zaha, and Mateta up top.
Not too bad.
A bit disappointed Raksaki at the start, but it's okay. We'll see. I want to win, man. I want to win games. Like, we need to get that gelling together with this new manager and this new squad. So bring on.
He's obviously thinking the same.
Yeah. Well, I did see a thing that he was saying, because there's only 2 games now between the international break. He's like, we need every game to build momentum and get used to playing with each other and all that kind of stuff. So I think that is probably why he's, like we're saying, set a strong team. But Wolves versus Spurs. Spurs got a very unconvincing win, shall I say.
Yeah.
Wolves were better than I thought they would be. Adama Traore should have put a couple through, really. He had one glaring one where he just made Davinson Sanchez look like an absolute fool.
Just having a look. Sorry to interrupt. Just having a look at, as you were saying, that some of the stats. Wolves had 25 shots compared to Tottenham's 8.
Yeah.
I should have put Lloris in goal. Really.
And Wolves had 58% possession.
Fuck, that's mad.
Terrible. Oliver Skip. So Wolves did have a penalty turned down, which I think was a penalty. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's Oliver Skip's challenge on Semedo.
No.
Oh, anyway, yeah, he's one of them ones where he sort of there's enough contact where it's like a body check in the box that the ball's going sort of away to the goal, to the corner, but in the box, so he's almost like he's going to go round the outside to then get a ball back into the box, and he body checks him. And there's enough in it for me that I saw that and I was like, yeah, that's a penalty, man. And I just can't help but thinking that if that had gone through and Wolves have scored that, I think Wolves would have gone on to win this game, because you got that Traore 1-on-1 with Lloris that he should have put away. It was terrible not to put that away. But I mean, Spurs did create a few chances. Like Harry Kane had a shot that probably should have tucked between the legs of the keeper. But mate, Wolves could have really won this game, and Spurs, I think they did play well at the beginning and at the end of the game, but there was that massive chunk in the middle where Wolves were by far the better team, and they got pretty lucky, man.
I think this goes back to sort of what we were saying earlier about Tottenham. Obviously, there was a big first win against City and stuff, but if they are going to bring in Traore and keep Kane, are they going to continue with it, build on this momentum? They did take the 3 points at the end of the day, but like you say, it wasn't convincing for the majority of the game. So I think they could be. I don't know. Tottenham are such a weird one this year. It's really hard to put your finger on it, how they're going to actually perform. But I think they'd take a result like this every day, if I'm being completely honest. If they walk away with the 3 points, they walk away with what they came to do, in all honesty. But that's playing with that sort of style and how they did sort of perform throughout the majority of the game. You're lucky it was against someone like Wolves. Someone that's a bit more clinical would have turned you over and probably could have beaten you maybe 3-0 or something. So
that's good. I mean, something they've been guilty of the last couple of years is throwing away games from winning positions, but grinding out 2-1-0s to start off Nuno's tenure is actually, it's a pretty good start. You can build on that quite well.
What we saw last year under Jose, they should have beat West Ham, and they let 3 goals come back for West Ham. You know what I mean, with that Lanzini absolute screamer. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a change, and I think it could be a good thing for Spurs if they can keep their momentum going, keep Harry Kane in the squad. But yeah, I don't know. If they don't keep Harry Kane, they need to give Bruno Nuno all the players that he wants, and let him do that. Get the Adama Traore, do that kind of thing, because with the players they have, I don't think Bergwijn's good, and I don't think Lucas Moura is good. They need to improve those two players massively.
I quite rate Bergwijn, to be fair.
He just can't finish, man. He can do stuff like he can do other shit and all that other stuff. He just can't finish his dinner, man. So many times last year he should have scored and didn't.
Obviously, and Ndombele wants out, don't he?
Yeah, who's one of their best players actually when he plays, and he's actually playing
not been there
well.
very long. How was it? A year or so that he's been there?
Was
it the beginning of last summer, last season that he?
No, it was the season before that, because it was when we did the draft. So I drafted him.
Yeah.
Which was great because he scored that absolute screamer on the first game on his debut, and then did nothing for the rest of the season. But yeah, we'll move on to the other game that Ollie really wants to talk about, which is Arsenal versus
West
Chelsea.
Ham versus Leicester. Yep.
But you guys were. We don't have to go touch too much on it, but you guys were terrible, really bad. Like
it started off really well. First 5 minutes.
Yeah. The defending was Pablo Mari, man. Like
I saw a great meme of it was that bit in Peep Show where Jeremy's trying to get Mark to eat the turkey.
Oh yeah.
And there's Pablo Mari's offering like help. Come on, Rob, help me, Mark Lukaku. Like no, Pablo, he's not my man.
So funny, but yeah, he was just terrible. Tierney looked lost for the first time in a little while, man.
He didn't have a great game, and also obviously he ended up coming off after picking up an injury. I don't know how serious it is, but
Jesus,
yeah, we just that back line. It's just the whole thing with. Obviously, we've got people injured at the moment. We've got people out with COVID. One person comes back from COVID, another one goes out with COVID. It's just it's rattling through us at the moment, and the fact that we're not starting, well, other than Tierney, who obviously had a bad game, but the rest of the back four aren't our starting back four, or probably won't be our starting back four. See, Gabriel, when he comes back from his knock, should be starting in the middle with Ben White when he's not got COVID, and then obviously our right back. I'd probably even say I prefer Bellerin over Cedric, because Bellerin's got more pace about him, and he's probably a better fit with Ben White and Gabriel and Tierney compared to Cedric, because Cedric just doesn't play for us that often at all.
I think I'd rather have Ben White with COVID than Rob Holding though.
Oh, mate, honestly, I've been saying for the longest time that we need to get rid of Rob Holding. And he's gone slightly up in my books because he shaved his head now, and he was losing his hair for a long while. But I'm not actually sure if he's probably just had some sort of hair transplant or something. But yeah, he needs to go, man. He's so god awful. Pablo Mari just could not keep hold of Lukaku. I had no idea where he was going, what he was doing. Then obviously when Lukaku scored his goal, he thought, right, let me get slightly in front of Lukaku. And obviously I'm going to get out muscled, so I'm going to fall to the ground, and then Lukaku's going to go and score. But hopefully I might get some sort of foul for that, which is not the game plan that we should be doing at all. It was just horrendous. I think obviously there's a couple of other players higher up the pitch that we're going to be bringing in, hopefully over the next couple of games. But yeah, that back line was just woeful. So woeful, it was ridiculous. It was just weak in every sense of the word.
Chelsea didn't get out of third gear the entire game, and they looked comfortable. They just looked comfortable, chilling.
Yeah, easily.
I would I know we conceded more goals, but I put Arsenal's defending on a par with how shit Palace's were when we were playing Chelsea as well. It's it's just bad, man. But yeah, I mean, like we were saying, like we were saying earlier, if Arteta, going against City is obviously you're going to lose. Like we all know you're going to lose against City. Yeah. That's how it's going to go. But we were saying obviously you can't judge. But in the matter in which you lose, I think matters. If you could go out against City and at least show something. Do you know what I mean? Which I feel like you did against Chelsea and you did against Brentford. You did show something, but ultimately that wasn't there. And that's if you can't do it against City, you're not going to do it against City. But I mean, Arteta's really on the hot seat. I think he is. He's got to be odds-on favourite to be the first sacked, right?
Probably. Well, when I say probably, definitely.
I think Vieira will be up there just because he's a new manager in a tough spot.
Yeah, Sean Dyche is never going to get sacked. Daniel Barker from Norwich won't get sacked.
Steve Bruce should be odds-on favourite, but he'll never be sacked because he's a yes man for Mike Ashley, who doesn't give a shit about his football club.
Well, I mean, whoever Watford's current manager is probably going to get sacked at some point.
Watford do like to get rid of managers very quickly.
More than Chelsea.
More than Chelsea, yeah.
Yeah. I think I said the other day that I think we can't read too much into the Chelsea and the City games because we're not expected to win them. At all. So I think people that after as soon as obviously the Chelsea game finished, all over social media, loads of Sports Bible and Give Me Sport and all those sort of pages and stuff are all writing stuff like Arteta out, asking that question. It's a bit I think they're kind of half forcing this narrative on fans, thinking that if they come out and say it or ask the question, Arteta out, it's going to spark more conversation about it. But I think the only game out of our first three that we can really sort of read into and say Arteta out is probably that Brentford game. Obviously, like you say, you can look at the Chelsea game and say obviously we didn't perform well. But it wasn't the whole team that didn't perform well. It was our back line that didn't perform well, and we did also, like I said, we've had a number of injuries and illnesses and stuff that have stopped us being able to put out probably our strongest back line. So I think once we can, if against City we do put out Ben White, doubt we'll be playing Gabriel because I think he's still injured. But if we get maybe Bellerin, hopefully anyone else but Pablo Mari or Rob Holding, but then there is no one else basically. But I'd rather play Saka in a centre back. I think then he's so versatile.
Probably do a job.
Yeah, do a job. He's more versatile than anyone else. But yeah, I just think that we can't read too much into these next two, Chelsea game and the City game, because we're just not expected to win them. If we do win them, or if we do win against City, it's not going to happen. But if we do, that would be good, cool, sweet, we won it. But I don't think it's going to do too much for Arteta in terms of his career.
No, I don't. I think I agree. I think unless the Man City result sparks an actual change, and you start to consistently win, then even if he beats City, he's got to fucking go. If he starts to lose to other teams, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. For me personally, for me personally, I've given him 6 to 8 games before I'm gonna be one or the properly one or the other in terms of if I want him to go or keep him. I'm still Arteta in at the moment. Obviously, like I said, we can't look too much into these first few games when we've got a hard start to the season. But I've got to give it some time for the balance to sort of settle in a little bit. And if it's then consistently we're not performing, then he's got to go. But yeah, calling it something like that now is just a bit stupid, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think, it'd be interesting to see what happens. I've just seen that Zuma to Everton looks pretty much done. They're in the final stages of the deal now, and that will make the Chelsea then put a new deal on the table for Koundé, and also Sal Niguez to Chelsea on a loan. Obviously, we were talking about that a bit earlier. Looks like that's going to go through as well now. So Chelsea have just added a fantastic young defender and a very, very good midfielder in the prime of his age, in the prime of his career. So yeah, I'm kind of happy we put Chelsea where we put them, winning the league. But non-football news and sad news, but I've just seen it come through on my BBC News app, guys. Charlie Watts, Rolling Stone drummer, has died at the age of 80. So R.I.P. Charlie Watts. Saw you back in 2014, and unbelievable drummer. Had a hell of a career, obviously, with the Rolling Stones. A legendary band. But yeah, I just saw. It's really sad.
I'd also like to mention Australian dart player Kyle Anderson, who passed away yesterday. Also,
only 33, very young.
Yeah, that's unreal. That's unreal. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we don't like that. We don't like that kind of stuff here. Obviously, no one does. But yeah, it's for sad times. Let's get back onto football before we really bring the mood down on the podcast. But last game to talk about, boys. West Ham 4, Leicester 1. Let's just go quickly through it. I mean, West Ham destroyed them. Antonio's become West Ham's top Premier League goal scorer of all time. Said Benrahma sort of to pick up his form after a terrible debut season for him last year. Leicester need a change up. They going forward, they didn't look the same. I think they need to move on from Vardy sooner rather than later, before it gets to a bit of a joke. Why they're not starting Kelechi Iheanacho or Patson Daka, the new striker, I don't understand. Yeah, I think Leicester could be in for a torrid time this season if they don't start seriously moving on.
I think they're just trying to get enough Vardy out of them as they can before he fully loses all his abilities. Which is nice. I understand that. Like, he's the dude. He's Mr. Leicester forever.
Yeah. He's obviously said that he never wants to leave, so he'll just be a player that just slowly he'll just play less and less for them, and eventually he'll just that's me. Yeah, I'm done
join
now.
the coaching staff or something.
Yeah, literally.
100%. But it's a good. We're running out of time, but it's just a funny thing. We'll come on to another podcast. But I was talking to someone the other day about players staying at teams forever, and how a Matt Letizia. I was arguing that a Matt Letizia staying at Southampton is far more impressive than like a Rooney staying at Man United his whole career. It's easy to stay at a team your whole career when they're winning titles every season. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. But yeah, that's another argument for another day. But yeah, just come into my head. But West Ham, guys, obviously they've not had any Europe yet. Still early doors in the season. They've got a lot of games to play and a thin squad. Do you see them keeping this up?
I hope they do, because they played really well yesterday. The link up between like Ben Rama and Antonio, obviously he didn't score until sort of fairly late on in the game, but I think they still had really good link up play the whole time. I think you've got a bit of a steal there, Alf, with Ben Rama in your fantasy team. I think he'll probably do quite well this summer. Just sort of on average, he'll do just very well. I think obviously Leicester going a man down early-ish in the game didn't help it at all. But there was, like you said, there was just something missing about Leicester yesterday. They just weren't clinical enough. They weren't the ruthless Leicester that we've seen over the last couple of seasons.
100%. Yeah, they're just struggling. H, you got anything to add to Leicester, my man? Obviously, you said about the Jamie Vardy thing, but
yeah, I think you're right. They are still trying to find that identity, which they've done well the last few years in terms of keeping that like a steady process rather than going all out one summer to try and completely change everything. And they've built on that well. People like Tielemans and Fofana and people like that coming through, and they've slotted into the team nicely, and they've transformed the way they play for the better, and it kind of gives more longevity to Leicester's remaining at one of the best teams. And Soyuncu as well, despite the absolute howl he made yesterday.
Yeah, it was terrible.
That was bad.
But yeah, they need to. There's probably Kasper Schmeichel as well is going to have to go at some point, because I mean they're going to. As great as he's been for them, a great leader and stuff, like it's going to have that same mentality of trying to play the way they've always played and stuff.
Yeah, he's a great leader and he's a great goalkeeper. But yeah, I know what you mean. I think they need to just breathe. They haven't. I don't feel like they've really ever blooded through that new group, that post Ranieri Leicester. That they didn't. They've obviously spent the money well, and invested some, but there's still too many lingering things from that Leicester that I think they just need to get rid of. Start afresh under Brendan Rodgers and just go all out. Go that all-out attacking football that we love to see from Leicester. Do you know what I mean? It's so fun to watch, especially with someone like Brendan Rodgers behind the helm.
It's good at that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, before we go, we're just going to give a little grade each for the play. We'll discuss a grade for the teams this week. As we do that now, Harry, on Tuesdays. We're going to grade them throughout the season, and then we'll average it at the end. And we'll see who's had like the best sort of season, I guess, from the Footy Fetish standard.
Yes.
And we can work out who's the most lenient marker.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we should start with. Are we doing it alphabetically?
I've got the list here alphabetically, so we could go down the list, or we can.
We will, man. We'll go down.
Arsenal. It's got to be a 10, right?
What did we give them? We gave them a 3 last week, didn't we, for the Brentford game?
Yes, we did.
I'll
take a 3 again.
Yeah, I'd stick with a 3 again because I didn't see any improvements or anything like that, and not necessarily anything worse either. Do you know what I mean? So
definitely.
Yeah,
No, I
go
agree,
for a
to be
3.
fair. I'll go with a also go with a 3.
All right, Villa, definitely better. What did we give them last week, Ollie?
We gave them a 5 last week.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit better than that. I think that this result is a solid 6-7.
I was thinking a 6,
7.
to be honest. Actually, no, I'll give them a 7 because they solid 2-0.
Clean sheet, yeah. Danny Ings scored a fantastic goal.
Yeah,
I think, yeah. Okay, at home, yeah, 7. I like that.
Brentford, last week they got an 8. This week they're definitely not getting there.
I wouldn't give them higher than a 5 because I don't think they deserve it. I don't think they were good at all against us.
I think 5's fair. Coming out, grinding out a clean sheet away. That's a positive. But then playing not so great also.
Yeah. I might be going for a. I don't know. No, I'll go with a 5. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
5.
Brighton last week they had a 6. They obviously won again this week, 2-0 against Watford at home. Can't really say less than. It's definitely not less than a 7.
No, I'd say 7 because they kept the clean sheet this time as well, and they did look better.
Yeah,
they look more dominant. They look way more
comfortable.
Yeah. They never really. Yeah, Watford never really posed much of a threat. So.
Guess we've probably got to give them the same score as Villa, to be honest.
Give them a 7, yeah.
2-0 at home, yeah, 7. Right, Burnley last week they got a 2. This week, probably another 2.
Give them, no, I think they played well.
2-0 at Anfield. Could have
they lost 2-0 to Anfield. They had opportunities to get back in the game and actually score, and they did pose Liverpool problems. So I think a 4. I think you can give this a bit of a better result. They still lost in it, and it's still but they played far better than they did against Brighton last week.
Okay, 4.
Yeah, I'll back that. I'll back 4.
Nice.
Chelsea last week had a 9. This week against Arsenal. Away from home as
can it be any worse? Can it be? It can't be lower than a 9, surely, because they just never got out of.
I think it's probably got to be another 9. I don't think it's quite a 10 out of 10 performance.
They were so comfortable. If they had got another 2 goals, then I would have gone 4-0. I'd be like 10 out of 10 at Arsenal. 4-0, but
2-0 at the Emirates is obviously good. Maybe 4-0 would have got them.
Sorry, I meant to mention this in the Chelsea bit. Lukaku, Mr. Debut scorer. I don't know if you guys knew this, but he has scored on his debut for West Brom, Everton, Man United, Inter Milan, and now Chelsea on his return. He scored in his debut. That is incredible.
What did he do for Belgium?
I don't actually know. Harry, have a little look
on it.
But yeah, so Chelsea, 9 out of 10. I think we can go for again. I think that's pretty safe.
Palace last week they had a 3. This week obviously 0-0 against Brentford at home.
I think it's only fair that we give them a 5. If we give them Brentford a 5,
you can't. We've got to give them both a 5, really.
We did. I think we played better, but we didn't capitalise on chances, and we didn't create enough either. So I think a 5 would probably be fair. I think it's just a bog standard sort of run-of-the-mill performance from the boys.
Harry, are you happy with a 5 as well for Palace? Same as Brentford.
Sort of.
Yeah. New manager.
Cool.
I don't think he scored on his debut for Belgium, but he did score on his debut for the Belgium under-21s.
Love
it.
That counts.
That counts. All right, who we got next, Ollie?
Everton last week they got a 6. This week, obviously they drew at 2-2 at Leeds.
I don't know. Their performance going forward, they were good, but defensively they were terrible again.
Well, now they're bringing in Kurt Zuma.
Zuma could very much help, but that doesn't help their.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Doesn't help their score this week. They got 2, but they conceded 2. They did defensively. I think they weren't as good as they were last week.
No, I'm thinking of 4 or 5 really.
4 or 5. I'd probably go 5 again. I don't think they were any worse than Palace were.
Yeah.
Then they scored goals, but it's just
I think a 5 is because it is just slap bang in the middle. It's just got to be average.
Very average.
Just average.
Most draws going to end up a 5, I reckon.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Unless you're the obvious favourite.
And then Leeds, funny enough, the next team. Played
Big 5 again, right?
Yeah,
They did dominate more than they did, so maybe we should dock them 1 considering how much they dominated. But
equally, they bounced back from that 5-1 against United by controlling the game.
They did, yeah. Yeah, we'll go 5 then. We'll go 5. I feel like every point that someone makes against it or for it, someone could then make another one equally against or for it, and it's like, okay, we're stuck in the middle here. So yeah, let's do 5. I like that.
Leicester.
Give everyone a 5.
Leicester got a 7 last week. They're definitely not getting a 7 this week.
I think they got to be harshly marked this week.
Yeah. I think this is a 3.
I think it's definitely a 3.
Because that was a terrible.
Maybe I'm not gonna it might be less than a 3, just because they got that red card as well.
I'm kind of thinking 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's got
What
to
did
be
we
a
give
2
Arsenal
for me.
losing 2-0 to Brentford though?
Arsenal have had 3 for the first 2 weeks. But obviously Leicester had a man sent off. They had Soyuncu that made that awful back pass, and obviously Schmeichel.
Yeah. They did make some big mistakes in that game as well. Yeah,
very costly mistakes. They lost 4-1.
So a 2, I think, is fair.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sarah. Sorry, Leicester fans, if you're watching.
Liverpool 9
I
last
thought
week.
they lost 4-1.
I think they deserve a 7 for this game. An 8 actually. An 8.
I'm thinking more of an 8.
They were going forward. They were so sublime, but yeah, defensively still a bit shaky. But they didn't concede when they definitely could have. I keep going on about it. Harvey Elliott, man, what a baller. Yeah, I could go 8.
Harry?
That's fine with me, mate. Yeah, fine.
Perfect. Man City, they've definitely made improvements from last week. They got 4 last week. This week they won 5-0 against Norwich.
It's a 9, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say it's got to be a 9. I think you can't give them a 10 out of 10 because it is Norwich, but they did win 5-0.
Yeah.
So they get that result against United. It's a 10.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, if they get that result against a Villa or a Leeds or something like that, it's a 10 out of 10.
Definitely.
But no, Norwich just bend over basically and let you do whatever they want. Let you do whatever you want. So we'll have to mark them down. But 9, I think, is fair. They never really looked uncomfortable. They never looked like Norwich were going to pose any sort of threat. It's like a training ground match. United.
So over to the other side of Manchester United. They got a 9 last week. This week, obviously, they drew 1-1 with at Southampton.
They were a bit unlucky.
Yeah.
But they didn't do enough with the ball when they should have done.
I'm hovering around a 5 at the moment.
Yeah,
it'll be either 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, I could go for 5. I feel like 5's a safe one for a draw, isn't it, like that? But and again, they did draw to Southampton, who have been, I think, a 4 actually, because they did draw to Southampton when they should have won that game, definitely. Southampton got lucky, so we have to take.
They should have been riding high after the Leeds.
Yeah, we do have to take into account that for marking Southampton, we have to take into account that they got lucky as well. So
a little bit of a spoiler for the next episode as well, but some of the predictions for this game, the Southampton Man United game that were made last Thursday, very different to the actual scores.
Yeah, I might have predicted 10-0 to Man United, Harry.
Might have.
But yeah, let's just, it is what it is.
So
wait for the home leg.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we going for 4 or 5 then for United? Sorry.
4, I think, because it's Southampton. They should have won. They got unlucky, but they.
What did you think, Harry? 4, 5?
Yeah, 4.
They're better than losing out a win due to bad luck. If you know what I mean, to Southampton, they're better than that. Like that shouldn't affect them.
Yeah.
But
or if they want to be title wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Last week, Newcastle got a 4. They lost 2-0 this week against Villa.
They were poor. I think this is a 2 or a 3.
I was about to say 2. 2 was not great performance, all things considering.
I kind of want to revisit the Arsenal one we gave this week. Give them a 2. Because I don't think.
Oh, bollocks.
Chelsea,
it was against Chelsea.
Chelsea
that's true.
Plus injuries.
Chelsea are the only team to get 9 2 weeks in a row.
Okay, alright. Come on,
give me
if anything, let's give Arsenal a 10, because they couldn't have done any better than that.
No, wind your naked, son. Yeah, keeping it at 3.
That's canon now, I've heard that.
Newcastle were 2.
Yeah. Norwich.
They can't do any better.
Norwich got
fat fucking 0.
Norwich got a 2 last week. This week,
I happily give them a 0. They were disgusting.
zeros all around.
Yeah, they were.
Can we give them less?
Embarrassing to watch.
Minus points. So far, they're on 2 points out of a possible 20.
Nice.
Southampton last week got a 3. This week they drew 1-1 with United at home.
I think a 5 because I don't think they were particularly good. They got lucky with their goal, and they got lucky.
Well, we're giving United a 4. We should probably give Southampton a 5 because they were expected to probably lose. So, yeah, cool. Spurs last week got an 8. This week
it's going to be lower, even though they won because they looked at far less convincing and actually dominated by Wolves during this game.
Be a 6.
Yeah, I think a 6. I think a 6. Yeah.
Cool.
I think it seems fair.
Watford last week they got an 8. This week they lost 2-1 to Brighton. At Brighton. So
yeah, 2-0 to Brighton. Yeah.
Maybe a 3.
They weren't good. They were bad. Like they didn't really do anything. Brighton never looked shook. So yeah, I
3 maybe.
I think a 3. I'd give a 3. I feel like 2 because we gave 0 to Norwich, didn't we?
Yeah.
We can slap them in 2.
Yeah.
Watford in 2.
Yeah, you guys suck.
Cool. Right, last 2 teams. West Ham last week they got a 7. This week they won 4-1 against Leicester.
I want to give it a 9.
I'm gonna say 9 to be fair. It was a great performance by them.
They did concede a goal, but it was also like it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't 2. It did make it 2-1, but even then, it didn't feel like it mattered.
So sharp going forward, like.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't think they're too worried about like trying to get a clean sheet or anything.
No.
I just want to.
Declan Rice and Soucek as that midfield duo is unreal, man.
Yeah.
It is fantastic.
Definitely.
Soufal is a great player as well. I know Harry knows all about him this year. But yeah, no, and Ben Rama obviously I said like great steal for me in the draft, in the fantasy draft. But yeah, like I don't know, they're great. So 9, I'm happily give them a 9.
Cool. Last but not least, Wolves. Last week they got a 4. This week they lost 1-0 at home to Tottenham.
They were better. They did dominate, but they didn't get the result. I feel like we could go probably like a 5 because they didn't get the result, but they were better than they were last week. They showed us a bit more. They could have. Who
did they play last?
Well, they weren't.
They lost 1-0 against Leicester last week. So yeah, let's go for a 5. They weren't amazing.
They're running these bigger teams like quite close.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. So that is everyone done. I'll quickly run through the scores. So Arsenal got a 3, Villa got 7, Brentford got 5, Brighton got 7, Burnley got 4, Chelsea 2 9s in a row. Palace got 5.
Got 9 overall.
5, and then Everton 5, Leeds 5, Leicester had an abysmal 2, Liverpool got 9, Liverpool got 8, City got 9, United got 4, Newcastle got 2, Norwich with a big fat 0. Southampton.
That's generous.
Yeah, Southampton got 5, Spurs got 6, Watford got 2, West Ham got 9, and finally Wolves got 5. So yeah, that is another week's worth of ratings done. Done.
Now, before we go, I just want to say that we're not sure how we don't know how far this is going to go, but basically we've been making up some hoodies, we're making up a hat. Ollie, show the hoodie design real quick for the people.
For the boys,
it's very basic, but it looks
boys and girls back home.
Good thing about this is one of one.
This is currently one of one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice little hoodie and stuff. But
yeah, man.
Lovely little thing, very nice. I'm not sure if it's the right way around on your screen, on my screen.
Yeah, I see it right.
Yeah, I can see it right.
I'm not sure if that's though, but either way, lovely little hoodie, very soft, really good quality actually. I was quite surprised.
I think
Jesus Christ.
The idea at the moment will be
it's one of one.
I think the idea, yeah.
What are you doing?
Christ, mate. But yeah, so for the moment, I think we're doing it for ourselves, basically. I don't know if it's interested for anyone else to do it, but if you are interested and you want one, hit us up. You could buy one.
Yeah.
We'll sell them. You know, we'll sort you one out. You can pay for it, whatever. Let us know. We're more than happy to. We're more than happy to do that. We're gonna get our own ones. You know, that's the thing. If you get one of them now, you'll be like one of the first.
Yeah.
And it'll be in a year's time where everyone's like, oh man, tried to get the new Footy Fetish drop. Oh, stayed up till like 3 o'clock in the morning to get my hoodie. Couldn't happen. Now, now seeing some on Depop or StockX for $1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't get a hold of it.
All these scalpers that are going to come.
Yeah, and then
when the hats turn up as well, that's printed on there, but the hats are going to be embroidered, even better quality. Man.
I don't know about you boys, but I'm also willing to do, signed photos and
you can find
short video messages
on Cameo as well.
Birthday wish. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Actually, I'll tell you what. I have had an idea, guys, about the next. I'll run it by you quickly now. For the next award show, I want to cameo it and get celebrities to read out the winners.
Nice.
Which I think would be quite funny, and we'll do a rant. Like we'll each get a couple, like a number. We'll each get a few awards assigned. We won't tell each other who we've gone and got.
Okay.
It's because they're being quite expensive, but
I know, but I think it'll be fucking jokes.
We got a year to save up.
Yeah, we got a year to save up for it. But anyway, We're gonna go now. If you want a hoodie, if you want a hat, let us know, and we'll sort you out with one. No problem. We'll do you a nice rate as well. But
do you a good deal.
Exactly, but yeah, thanks to everyone for watching today. Thank you to Ollie and to Harry for joining me. Thank you to Ollie for streaming us today. Done a stellar job, bang up job, mate. This will be out tomorrow night, I believe. This pod, is that right, Ollie?
Tomorrow evening.
Yep.
I'll edit that bad boy tonight, and then it will be uploaded, and it will be ready. Probably, I'm going to say 8 o'clock tomorrow.
8 o'clock tomorrow. So
tomorrow, be there or be.
AM.
8 AM, yeah, no, 8 PM.
8 PM. But yeah, so if that's you can listen to us while you're going to sleep or first thing in the morning on Thursday. So it's up to you really. But yeah, thanks to everyone for watching. Make sure to follow us on Twitch, follow us on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. I'm sure Ollie will put links in comment section on wherever, or we have links about in
here,
the chat. Or here. Just
one circular going round and round here.
Exactly. Do we have our socials on our Twitch page somewhere? I'm sure we do, right? And all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I think there's an overlay, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're on there. Just make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow, make sure to hit notification bells, whatever it is, download in, whatever it is, do it for us. We really appreciate it. But yeah, we will be back on a lot for you Twitch viewers. We'll be back on Thursday evening for a live stream, where we preview this week's football coming up, and we will also talk a bit of fantasy league and that kind of thing as well. So yeah, thanks everyone. We love you, basically. Mo Farah, and we will see you soon. Peace.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.